Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 13. And thank God it's not Friday. In this one, I get screws, iron plates, and iron rods going. I get all of it done, and right to the end, I do skip through a lot of the builds after I show you the first one, because it's pretty much the same footprint over and over and over again for this. Because I do 9 constructors in a row. Yeah, I mean, it's all hooked up the same way. I use a blueprint to do it. Hey, leave me a comment down in the comment section if you think I should expound a little more and do a brick by brick, you know, how I built stuff and whatnot. But I don't see the reason. You will get the gist of it. You will see it's a very simple build. It's just a lot of it, and I wanted to fit these 3 commodities into one episode. Anyway, if you're liking the series, you know, do the things, push the buttons. I thank you hugely for all the support that I've gotten, past, present, and hopefully in the future. I thank you very much for pushing that button. It makes a big deal. It does. So thank you. And yeah, leave me comments. If you got any questions on, you know, why I'm doing what I'm doing, all the rest of that fun stuff, please leave them down in the comment section. Other than that, we'll see you on the other side. So now with the evener system, even though I'm only pulling off one line, once again, I'm just going to point out that it's pretty much 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's fairly equal as to what it's pulling out of here, which means if we backtrack through the system, it's fairly equal as to what I'm pulling out of here, which means, and I can go all the way back to the iron when it comes in. My biggest issue now is power, but I can rip down this system over here, meaning this has to get transported upstairs. Now I made my best attempt anyways to run this system dry before I need to collapse it and whatnot. I probably could have done a little better job, but I just, whatever. And as you can see, this will get cleaned up a lot as I go through and start to delete stuff down here. Okay, now for you guys. 7 of them. Well, I don't really need them yet. What I really need is plates, rods, and all that stuff is over here. So I already have, and I cultured it that way, the alternate screw recipe. I suggest you go for this one first. The easiest way to do it is you get 1 hard drive, and then you go to your MAM, and you continuously cancel out. You can press the little X button, cancel out of it, and then inspect the hard drive again and again and again and again and over and over and over again while you're building and while you're constructing. And while I was doing stuff, that's what I was doing. I was running back to the MAM every once in a while when it would tell me, hey, your blah 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 is done, your inspection or whatever of that hard drive is done. I'm like, okay, no problem. Run back there. Oh, I didn't get it. Okay, no problem. And then I would reset it, restart it again and again. And yes, I did it again and again and again. That to me is a very important recipe because, well, like it shows, I don't need to go to rods to get screws. So it's 1 step missing, meaning I can go a single production entire plate, single production iron rod, and single production into screw. Now here's the thing. Almost all of the end game stuff needs screws. So out of those, and although this one, yeah, it takes 5 and makes 20 screws, whereas the original would have been 1 into 1 iron rod and then 1 into 4 screws. Okay, so 5. It's the same math is what I'm getting down to here. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, so that would mean, right, 1 every. So it's the math hasn't changed. So you're still using the same amount of ingots to go into the same amount. Now downstairs, I have, and I'm contemplating upping this, by the way, which is why I'm going to go take a quick look. 1620 divided by 6 is 270 per belt. So that means I can max out those MK3 belts without any problem whatsoever. Okay, so if I were to make the alternate screw recipe with one, iron rods with the other, and iron plates with the other. So, sheet of paper. Ingots, iron ingots, and guess that teaches me for not updating my piece of paper. Is 1620. 6 belts. T, not an S. With plates is 30 per. These are their 15, aren't they? Yeah. 15 per for rods. And was it? I can't remember. 12.5. That's just nice math. 12.5 for screws. Not bad. Just make sure you do them evenly, and then you'll be 25 per. So it will be a majority of screws. And then rods. Rods are used there. Rods there. Rods through the rotor. I already knew I was going to be doing another iron area. It's foregone conclusion. So, let me do a bit of math here.
6.5 hours later.
So we'll be going 4 belts out. So that leaves 20. Before it leaves 1,080 is 85 screw makers. Wow. 85 times 50 per minute will supply me with 4,250 screws. Not bad. That's a start. Okay. And 85 times 12.5 is 1062.5. Plus 540. 1602. Not bad. I'll do that. That leaves me 18 extra ingots. Okay. Huh. Now, how am I going to do this? Can we go 9? Yes, I can. Okay. So, what would 81 give me? 12.5 would be 1,001. 81 times 50 screws would be 4,000. You know what? I'm going to go 81. 30. So 369, 918, 27. This is one line. Okay. So let's bring 2 in. Okay. So some more post-edit comments here. Because of the math, I'm going to be bringing 270 iron ingots into this system. I'm going to split it between top and bottom. And to me, a very easy way to split off is to use the function of the splitters and the mergers and the whatnot in the game already. You could do this a dozen different ways, or half a dozen, or however many different ways you wish to. For myself, I like to split it in 2 off of the main 270 coming in on an MK3. And then go between the top and the bottom. Because I'm only going to need 135 per, and a belt of 270 evenly split between two lines is 135, which is the way I did the math for basically this entire build, was to end up in the end with 9 on the bottom, 9 on the top. I continue to use extra foundations when I'm up here to line up my blueprints properly. I don't have flight yet, right? Like I don't have the wings, I don't have flight. So to me, this is the way to do it. Just use extra foundations. You can always get rid of them later. They make it so easy, it's not funny. Right here, I wanted to break in for this, and I'll show you in another comment in about 2 minutes. Make sure you line up your top and your bottom if you're going to do double stacks of this kind of thing with blueprints the way I have done it. Because that merger that's sitting on the right hand side of the screen, that has to light up or line up with the merger below it. And I have a previous set of string of this that I did not line up properly. So I wanted to leave a little bit of this footage in so you see it, but I also wanted to let you know, really pay attention to your alignment, top and bottom, and line up if you're going to do it this way. See those? They don't match. It depending upon which way you're doing it, either you want them to match or you don't want them to match. I myself like to match them up, and then it's a lot easier to use it later. And I also wanted to break in here because in about 3 seconds I'm going to do something real foolish. Make sure you line the outside of your base if you're doing this with something. A handrail, bumpers, something. Because otherwise... Oh... Yeah, I'm going to take a break when the pizza gets here too. So I made some slight errors in this part. This is post-edit, but I didn't line up my blueprints, and when you don't do that, you have to, and the way I'm doing this, of course, is with I'm going to call them floating, mergers and splitters. Well, you have to line them up. So it's a fairly simple system to line them up, but yeah, that's oops. But I didn't feel like going back and redoing all of the, so I left it. Yeah, I'm not too happy about it either. Anyone who likes things to be nice and neat and tidy and in order, yeah, so do I. But anyway. So, the thinking here is individually, I might bring them up separate, but each one of these is only going to suck back 135. Because this is half of what a normal smelting pack is. For me, I use 9. It's just the math works out. So both of these together will be 270. This will mean that I have one line of 270 rod coming out of this. But because I'm going to want to use it in multiple different places, I'm still going to use a splitter assembly right here. Like, I got the room, so I'm going to use a splitter assembly off of this. And for me, it'll be a 3-to-3. lots of room. Let's put it there. Even though I'm coming out with 2, I'll go in with 2 and then I'll split it twice. Just to get it nice and saturated, or whatever you want to call it. Now, that doesn't mean that it ups the amount I'll have. I'll still only have 270 rods at my disposal for the rest of the factory. What this does mean, though, is, well, I mean, I could scrunch it up. This takes 1, 2, 3, 4, let's call it 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left over. I could, in theory, take the splitter assembly and put it on this side. Okay, but then that'll kind of dip into whatever I'm doing for plates. And I could double this. Okay, meaning I could make a whole nother assembly over here if later on I need the rods, if I need the room. I quite commonly will end up retooling the factory later on, like redoing another set of these. But after that, commonly I have expanded the factory. Not too sure what I'm going to do here. I don't know. I haven't really made those decisions yet. I could... I just noticed. That one was not asphalt. I could... Like I said, run the balancers over here. Now, the plate assembly, which will be on this side, by the way, is only one bank. It's only one set of 9 for the plates. Because I only need about 540 plates. So now that I'm thinking of it, why don't we get set up to do the same thing? And then we got some room at the end here. But this will incorporate a wall, stairway, and then I'll be able to double stack this later on, if needed. Then I can take these 2. And I am going to run into a stairway problem, so I'll have to adjust them, you know, X spaces over. That's still 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10. So I might have to adjust my road. I've had to do that in the past where I've put a squiggly in my road. Because it didn't match up. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'll be halfway into that road over there. So I'll have to deal with that later and scrunch up the road, possibly. So what I want to do is I want to come out of here. And this way I can stack later on. Yeah, that's nice and straight. I like to go too high above any road. Later on, if I actually happen to have a dune buggy up here, which will probably happen, this way I don't run into a problem with sight lines or being able to see. Oops, not through constructors. And I want as much room as possible. Oh. And then we can run those guys. Well, I guess they're not going to be straight. Now, so this is rods and plates. So, same as always. I'm going to run a sink. I want these guys as close to this road as I can possibly get it. That's a good spot. There's a space on each side. And then same thing, straddling. Yeah, looks good. I can move around. I could do it into one. No arguments whatsoever. What I'm thinking of is this allows me to run another set of eveners in between, like belt balancers in between these two, just in case this grows later on and that goes to 4 and then it absolutely needs to be 2, or grows to 5 or whatever. So I got room is the whole gist of that. I don't know whether I've mentioned it. I've done this a couple times now. I always elevate my storages. Always. I always have. If you put it up to 1 meters and put it 2 meters high, oh, sorry, I messed up. Totally messed up. Okay, and that won't get in the way. I can go too high over there. Okay. So what this allows me to do is condense. One of these will come off. Remember, I'm going in with 1 at 270. All of that is just 270. Enough room for another bank of 2 later on if I need it. This will get mixed, and then 2 of them will take off. The third one comes over this direction. Sure, we'll go there. Goes into the storage. And then it can take off as well afterwards. Now, excuse me. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to split it here. Okay, this will be a smart splitter at some point in time. Okay. This gives me a buffer here of rods that... And I mean, I could do the entire factory off of this outlet, which commonly I've done in the past, but I can also run it because these are going to fill up and because I'm going to have to watch my numbers and my math on the far side of this, and I'm just going to have to know that I've only got 270 rods to deal with. That will grow later on in the game. No different than I'm going to have 540 plates coming out of here. Same deal. Same thing. That's going to be a smart splitter later on. Okay. So, eventually this does fill up. Okay. And then anything extra that's not being used here goes down the sink. I think I was mentioned at some point in time, a buddy of mine I got introduced to through another friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. That's how gaming works. Showed me how you sink the entire factory, no matter what. That way all the belts are running, and then it really kind of challenges you to do your math as well. Because you really have to, well, basically you really got to have your math together. Back from pizza. Okay, so now it's iron plates and iron rods are the first two. Now it's time for screws. This ought to be fun. And unpause. Okay, so we're almost done. I got 3 stories done. I need to get... Are they lined up? Yeah, they're not lined up. That's okay. So, in order to get all of them out, I gotta go 4 per. Oh shoot, that would have worked. No. What is 6? I think that's 300. Yes. So I can go 2, 2, 2. Okay, and that's finally done. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. So that's not even all of them. Okay, what was I thinking? 81. Wow. 81 screw makers. Wow. I'm just going to go with wow. And it's simple. Is that right? 81 times 50. Yeah, 4,050. Okay, well, that's, so 45 and 45, no, that'd be 90. So how many more do I need? 9 sets. 9 times 9 is 81, so that's 1 more set over here maybe? Or 1 more set on this side. And then all of that can be sorting it out. Okay, works for me. Then it'll be 6, 7, 8, 9. So 13 and a bit. We'll say 14. Wow. Alrighty. So, we're almost set. We're getting there. I condensed both of the walkways. I need to put power up and down. Okay. String them up, and away we go. And yeah, anybody that's following along with the math, I'm pushing 300 screws down an MK3 belt that can only handle 270. This is for later on in the game. This is me not caring right now whether I'm going to be able to handle that full 300, but it will later on when I up all the belts, go to MK5, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's 8. 8. Okay, that's the only one that shouldn't move. I said, pretty equal. No one belt is really overstressed. This maximum pull is not going to go for very long because the what I want is fairly constant. I don't mind the odd stoppage. If it gets going too much, where it never ends, then it'll the lines will empty. Hey everybody, okay, so I've completed, and I'm just going to run through it real quick. I have 14 high on the screws. I have 9 sets of 9, 81, making me a total amount of 4,050 screws per minute. The belts can only handle 3780 though, but I know that. It's running good. I got one of these running into a storage and then into a sink, and then I got the other one running into my mall way over there, filling up a storage. So one of these is going to stop pretty quick. But I will be tapping all 14 of these lines to make other stuff. So I redid my calculations for endgame. Okay, and I'm going to swing that over here. So what I did was I entered into the Satisfactory calculator one of each and everything that I'm ever going to want in the game. Okay, that means one Nobelisk, one, ammunition, one of each of the this, that, and the other things. But then I started to put like 5 turbo motors, 5 supercomputers. I believe, 3 of this, 1 of those, 3 of these, 3 of those. A lot of the specialty items that I need for the phases on the space elevator are going to be used but then gone. But this is somewhat important for you to look at and say, okay, alrighty, so he plugged in what he needed, but then as you come down, you'll need 29 of these, and 17 of those, and 25 of these, and 44 of these. And then as we get down this list, you'll notice that I'm going to need about 78, 79, let's just call it 8,000 iron ingots. Now, I could have plugged in the real recipe for what I'm using for screws. I forgot to, so this is the only one that looks a little bit skewed. Okay, but you can tell that. I mean, I'm going to need. I'm going to call it 8 and 5. So let's call it 13,000 iron ore coming, and I don't have that much right now. So oil and bauxite and copper, making this many copper and whatnot. So when I built this system, I built it for that in mind. I built it so that I could expand on it. I built it so that I would have this much and that much of my commodities coming in. When it comes down to screws, just an arbitrary total. I mean, you can go back in the video if you want. We're looking at what, 5, 6, 7,000. So this system right now is running 4,050 per minute. It has a possible of, once I upgrade the belts, of running that much. because each one of these will, you know, pump out this much, and I have that much iron ore running downstairs already. Now, everything in this game is going to get synced. Follow me along, because it will happen. These are now smart splitters, and I've configured them that the center output goes, the right output don't do nothing, and this is just overflow. So that it doesn't run until this fills up. Now, the screws are a little special, because what I did was I ran this one downstairs, and then I pulled a sneaky, and I ran it back into the system. Okay, meaning this whole entire thing would have to back up before that sync starts to get used for screws. Screws are very important. Screws, you can use a lot of them. Anybody who's played this game knows that. Now, the rest of these, I do have syncs running, okay, on, say, the iron plate. But I've got an MK2 down there so that I'm not running too much. And I think I got it through an MK1 to start out with. Same thing with the rods. An MK1 into an MK2. And if I need to bump it up. But what this does is it keeps everything running. And actually, I do want it up at MK2. Okay, I don't want it at MK3 because then I stress my system. And now that these are running on smart splitters, the minute I start to use this storage, which I'm going to, and the rod storage, so the minute I start using these two lifts that go downstairs and then lead off into other parts of the factory, and like I said, all of these are smart splitters now, all of this stuff will continue to run. All of my belts are backed up because of the math is sufficient that I'm using 270, and I'm not actually using enough right now. So, well, okay, it's not bad. It's not stopping too often, but there's no holes. You'll notice. Like, there's no gap in iron ingots. So the system is a little backed up. Now, my totals are thus. I am making 270 iron rods per minute. I'm using 270 iron ingots per minute to do that. I'm using 270 iron ingots to make 180 iron plates. Oh, autosave. And then on the screws, I'm using 1,012 iron ingots to pump out 4,050 screws per minute. So a total of 1,552 iron ingots per minute will be used in this system. I have 1,620. So I got a bit of wiggle room, and I wanted that, you know, just in case, right? Downstairs, I still have one line of iron ore that I could pull off and go use somewhere else. I have 2,400 iron ore coming in, and because iron gets split and smelted equally, meaning 30 in, 30 out, so I still have lots of room on this system to expand. That was my whole earlier in this episode. I ran this around so that I had this space for more iron rods, just because I know I'm going to need more iron rods. If you go back to the picture I showed with the planner, you'll notice that I need, now like I said, I got to redo that picture again. It's a bit of a and plug in the proper recipe for iron, for the screws, because I'm going straight off of iron ingots into screws because I have the alternative recipe. So this entire row is all just to make the first three basic commodities. And once I get that, now in the next episode, I will be branching out now, and I will be making rotors, and I will be making stators, and I will be finishing off the steel pipe area so that I can turn around and, you know, go into other, like, stators, because, you know, you need that. In other words, I'm going to be making the rest of it. Now, eventually, of course, I've already got it set up over here, and I've got this running into so that I can complete phase 2. So that is my plans. I think that's going to do it for this episode. I didn't think you needed a block-by-block build on this. These are fairly simple. All of those calculations, it's not insane factory, everybody. It's not what I would call a mega factory. Yeah, all this stuff is pretty big. It looks impressive, yeah. But you'll find out later on in the build and later on in the factory, this is only going to run a few buildings, but this is the base, so you need a lot of it. And I build it all to begin with. This way I don't need to redo I need to add to this, but it'll be a separate section. It won't be this, because this will all be used by that time. And because I sync everything in the game, well, everything's going to run. I'm just going to quickly go downstairs, and I'm going to quickly check the incoming iron ore. Iron ore, we'll go up the road, and we'll check it out just real quick here. And then I'll let you guys go. And, you know, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for joining me on this tour and this mission. So, as you'll see, nothing's empty. Most things are running. Now, the top ones are steel, remember, so they go a little slower because they take off over here and go to the steel area, which right now is running slow because I got no pipe running, and I'm only making steel beams for my MK3s. I don't have, whatchamacallit running yet. Encased industrial beams. I don't have those running yet. So, yeah, I'm not stressing my system all that much. I got lots to spare. I'm only using 1,500 of my ingots, which means 1,500 of the ore. And I've got, what is this, 2,400 down here? So I got lots of room, lots of space, lots of wiggle room for me. Yeah, 2,400 per minute coming in. So, and I can run this on MK3s. Like I said, I stick to MK3s for quite a long time in these builds because I set up for it. And yeah, and all right. You guys have a good day. If you're liking the series, you know, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Do the thing, and I thank you very much for it. Thanks for the support. Leave me chats, leave me messages. I understand this isn't the way everybody builds, so I mean, if you want to tell me how I'm whatever, okay, fine. Well, I'm not going to listen to you, but whatever, you can. Okay, fine. My shoulders are big enough. But if you want to ask maybe why I'm doing what I do, it's because this whole system is going to run fairly consistently when I get everything hooked up, when all these lines are running smoothly, when the math on the far end equals the math on the front end, this type of thing. I ran all the screws and everything up into the ceiling. This is the way I run things down here in my logistic layer. If you're new to this series, I have all the commodities come in the basement. Okay, well, actually, sorry. Everything comes in the basement, okay? Not much else down here, but, you know, everything comes in and up in the basement. Then it comes up, so everything comes up to the smelting level. From here, it gets smelted, it gets sorted, and then it goes upstairs to what I refer to as my logistic level. On the logistic level, all I do up here is just move things around the factory. But I do it here so that up top, I don't have a bunch of lines running around. I can drive down my roads for the most part and not be interrupted. Everything kind of runs underneath, in other words. So I've had some pretty messy builds in the past. So now it'll come up from logistics level, it goes into whatever it needs to do, and then it comes out, and it goes back down the logistics level, and this one in particular goes over to the mall. And then that's where I replenish my steel beams to make MK3 belts. Anyways, I hope I've given you enough footage if you're building or copying or following me along here. If not, please let me know. If there's someplace, I will show you the builds on this 14 stack. It's in my blueprints. So I made a 14 high stack of these, and I just, you know, one after another, after another, after another, and I just stacked them up and hooked them up, and that was it. Ta-da! That's nothing special there. And then everything comes around the corner and goes back downstairs, and it all fits within a nice one of my little quadrants that I make, which is kind of why I do it. And I don't know, it's just a system that I've used, and it works for me. And it's nice and cramped in here, but I really don't ever need to go back in there. I mean, I don't need to go in here for anything. You know what I'm saying? So it can be cramped. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go before I talk all night long, and I gotta get some sleep and go to work. Have a good one, and we'll see you in the next one.